Hey darlings, this vlog was filmed back in March, I think, when I visited Estonia and stayed up in this little town called Viljandi in Estonia. We were kindly invited there by the Culture Academy of Viljandi, and we got to spend the week there admiring the local scenery, craft stores, handcrafts, and some handcraft workshops that were arranged for us. Also, our group did also have their own workshop. Here are some crafts that were made by the Culture Academy students, and they were on display. And a lot of like traditional Estonian handcrafts. And some fabric stores and such. There was also this like history behind the town. There was this old church and yeah, an old town as well. The architecture in there was pretty old-fashioned, or like I want to say like 1800s type of structure, very old buildings, and then these like castle ruins that were dated all the way to like 1500 or something, like super old. Currently it's this venue that you can probably have your wedding at. I imagine during the summer it will be a really beautiful place to have a wedding. Then I attended one of the workshops, which was like studying old clothing, trying to figure out from which time they were from, and like who made them, and what kind of like knowledge or skills they had. And then the longer workshop that I attended was this wool mill experience, where I got to make wool yarn from the start. We started by basically sorting out dirty wool, the usable wool from the unusable wool, and then the wool was washed and dried. Then it was sort of like fluffered out by hand after it was washed, and then it was put into this first carding machine, and then they were blown into this large sack where it was then taken and put into a carding machine. This time it will make it really fluffy. It's not at all, there's no clumps whatsoever after it has gone through this machine. The machine started moving really slowly and taking the wool, as you can see on the first rollers, and then on the back side of the machine the fluffed wool kind of came out in this tube sort of form. We added some black wool to it because we wanted to have sort of like gray yarn, and here is how it looks like. The machine put it into this sort of like a barrel of sorts that was designed for it, so that it was kind of like spiraling into the barrel. When the barrel was full, we would swap it. There was quite many barrelfuls of this fluffed wool. After that, it was put into a combing machine that would sort of like straighten the fibers so that they are aligned into the same direction. We had to use 3 different like strands or tubes of wool so that the thickness would be nice. And there you can see the combs, and after that we would repeat the process I think 3 to 4 times. I think our group did 4 times to get extra fine wool fluff or tube. After the combing process, it was put into I don't know what it's called, but like basically a machine that twists the thread. We would first make skeins of 1. Here on the screen you can see that the first ply of the thread was spun in Z direction, and the other, when we are combining 2 or twisting 2 plies of thread, it was twisted in S direction. Here the lady is showing us how we should do the setup of the machine. There was this like specific way of doing and twisting and putting the cones down in the machine that will gather the twisted yarn basically. And here the machine is working basically, so it is starting to spin the thread. So here you can see the 1 ply thread, and we also tried to test out and see how many what ply thread we would make in the end, and we decided to make 2 ply thread. And here is some slow motion footage of the working of the machine. Here are the fluffy wool tubes basically that are being spun into the 1 ply thread. And here you can see how the wool moves in the machine, and it's twisted and it turns into a yarn, and it's gathered onto the cones down here. This is now footage of the plying machine basically. We have put here 2 separate threads that are being spun together into 2 ply thread. So we are using the same machine, but on the 1 ply thread is coming from the other side of the machine basically, now because we are not twisting the fluffy wool tube anymore, and we are using actual thread. So that's handy that one machine is doing both of the processes. And you can see here the yarns running from the cones to the machine. And after we had applied the thread, we were able to make the skeins out of them, and this is the machine for making skeins. Here are the ready skeins. My friend is taking hers off the machine. We actually got about 300 meters of yarn each, and here is my skein. And afterwards we went for some cake because we were really tired. We had been there in the wool mill for the whole day and standing, and we were just exhausted, so we had served some cake and hot chocolate. That was pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and actually I'm going to Viljandi again in less than a week. So yeah, there will be a vlog number 2 from Viljandi, which I'm really excited for. I hope you like this vlog because there will be more. And we will see you next time. Bye!